I-20, the free spot, G50 carry. I-29, the free spot, G46, and O66.
Might be able to win something.
Yeah, congratulations. Anyone else?
Oh, B1.
B1. There we go.
This was January 24th. January 2002. That's
We can remember September 16th is Ohana Walk. Know your friends and family.
Bingo! I heard multiple bingos, right?
Yeah.
And we're ending the game first number.
You got there, Bob. So many prizes.
Okay, visit accsb.org. Bingo. All right.
All right, Olivia. All right, Rick.
Yeah, my
Let's take a
That one.
O69.
Thank you.
Last winner, okay, that's some good luck. I-20, the free spot, G50 carry.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. I'm Jeani, your guide for the next hour. We're in the ACC's community room, and today's class is going to be a continuation of what we've been doing. Some warm-ups in the beginning, our 3 walking meditations, and as we cool down, we'll have a balance pose or 2, but it's not going to be as lengthy as before. We're going to try to make our way down to the mat and actually get in some spinal twists today. So if you have a strap to help you kind of loop around the ball of your foot to lengthen the leg if you have difficulty straightening the leg as we're laying on our back. Or if you're on the chair, you can at least hopefully loop it there. So having blocks nearby as well, those can be sort of like a landing pad as we do a spinal twist over to one side or the other. If you're in the chair, it may look a little different. You might just, be moving your pelvic bowl over to one side without having to lengthen the leg over, since you'll be on the chair. But, we'll work where we can. And that having been said, we'll go ahead and meet at the back of the mat. And please have some water nearby as well. It's still warm enough that you may need some during our break down to the right after our walking meditation. So that being said, let's go ahead and start at the back of the mat. Now, you don't have to change the quality of your breath. We're just going to give ourselves a moment to arrive. Feel the mat under the feet. And just notice how you're coming to your home base pose of mountain. If your legs are tight, if you've been cycling, if you've been working out in the garden, hiking, you may want to keep a bend to the knees. The deeper the bend, the easier it may be on those tight muscles in the legs, in the lower back, in the glutes. As you take a moment just to feel the mat under the feet, we'll now step into cultivating our yogic breath, bringing a left palm to rest on our chest, right palm under the belly button. Let's go ahead and start to breathe with a little more intention. Inhaling through the nose, briefly pausing at the top of the inhale, and then breathing once more out of the nose. Feeling that belly hand pressing in at the bottom of the exhale. Take the next few breath cycles. See if you can coordinate it with the breath in, the pause, the breath out, another pause, before the next breath cycle starts over again. Notice how the air, as it enters the lungs, the belly, moves the hands as it exits the body as well. And we'll begin with the sound of the ocean or a deep sigh to connect to our yogic breath. Widening the throat. And after a few breath cycles, hearing the ocean, our breath rate will be slower. And hopefully a good connection to that yogic breath. Let's go ahead and release our hands down to the sides, nice and relaxed. We'll start making movement with the feet. Go ahead and inhale deeply. Feel a little rooted as you're drawing energy up the legs, up the spine, through to the crown of the head. And on the exhale, feeling that reverse direction. And at the bottom, feeling more rooted, lengthening, if you will, through the legs. Engaging the core. And then with the next inhale, we'll start to tip our weight towards the toes. Feel that center traveling from the top of the ankle towards the toes. And then with the next breath, we're slowly going to move that center of gravity towards the heels, using a few breath cycles to explore that alignment from heel to toe. Just notice how the center of gravity shifts, how your body responds. And then we'll meet back in home base of mountain. Take another deep inhale, draw energy from the feet all the way up through to the crown of the head and beyond. And then exhale, roll the weight slightly towards the right side of your feet. Fully inhaled here or exhaled here. We're going to inhale towards the center. And then exhale to the other side. That's for a 3-part breath. Or you could just use a 2-part breath and breathe from side to side. But give yourself a few breath cycles to explore the horizontal movement of your center of gravity. Notice any subtle changes, how it feels to be doing this right now. Then we'll meet in center at our home base of mountain once more. And you can lift the toes, lift the heels. Just give yourself a slight reset, if you will. We'll go ahead and start shifting more of our weight from foot to foot, side to side. And then prepare to pivot the toes out as you start to gain some momentum, bringing the torso just slightly a second or two behind the lower limbs. And by doing so, you may find some movement in the arms, not really where you're actively swinging the arms, but it's just that swivel at the top, at the waist, at about the ankles, that allows you to gain some movement, some momentum at the arms. And the more you turn to one side, be sure to lift those toes so as to protect the knee. Breathing deeply, just finding some movement slightly at all those major joints, then allowing the momentum to peter out, diminishing back at home base, bringing in the toes, heel to toe alignment once more, resetting our mountain. And then we'll give ourselves another gentle bounce if you need, but moving on up to the body, feeling as if the big pad under the big toe, that's gently pressed down. All points of your feet, the soles of the feet should be on the mat, but feel especially so at that ball of the foot area. And just a slight internal rotation of the thighs as we're moving up the body, tucking in the tailbone. Seeing if you're pitched forward from the torso, that you can bring it on back and kind of sink it into the pelvic bowl, just slightly turned under. And then we'll move on up to the shoulder rolls. Now, palms facing forward. Let's inhale the shoulders up. Exhale, roll them back and down on the exhale. A total of 4 breath cycles worth of shoulder rolls. We're inhaling them up and then slowly exhaling them back through the nose and down, engaging the core at the bottom of the exhale. A couple more here for me. Connect to your yogic breath. See if that can help you to facilitate energy in, as well as the releasing of the muscles on the exhales. And we'll do a second set. Inhaling shoulders up. This time let's roll the shoulders forward on the exhale. And again, a 4 breath cycle set here, facilitated by the deep yogic breaths. Hopefully the movement is just in the shoulder girdles, but you might find some expansion in the ribs as you inhale. And hopefully the core is engaged on the bottom of that exhale. And then we'll move up to the crown of the head. Go ahead and make any small movements that you need to reset your mountain if you still feel activation from that last pose. And a gentle tuck of the chin. We're going to inhale once more, drawing the energy up through the feet to the crown of the head. And then exhale, let the right ear dip towards the right shoulder. Fully exhaled, engaging the core. Inhale. Exhale, turn the gaze. Use the next 3 to 4 breath cycles. See if you can release through the left side of the neck. And allow your eyes to wander to the rightmost of your vision. See if you can breathe your way to the right side of the body without forcing too much. Just a nice support from the shoulders down to the heels so that you can find that release at the left side of the neck, the jawline, the temple, maybe even the eyes resting right there at your shoulder, perhaps the thumb, perhaps behind your shoulder on the floor. And after that last exhale, we're going to inhale our eyes back into the gaze. The gaze turns, the crown of the head lifts at the top of the inhale, and let's exhale over to the other side. Inhaling for length, exhaling to turn the gaze and release. Again, 3 to 4 breath cycles on this side. Maintaining a level of alignment between the shoulders, between the hips, at the ankles. A good solid column of support, while the right side of your neck, jaw, temple, and eyes releases with each exhale. And after that very last exhale, we'll bring the eyes, the gaze, the crown of the head back up towards the ceiling and let our eyes drift towards the top of the mat. A nice space between the chin and the chest. We're inhaling a slight tilt at the crown of the head. And on the exhale, feeling the energy rooting the body downward through the feet to the earth. Deep yogic breaths. A total of 4 breath cycles here as well. And after the last exhale, we can inhale the eyes up towards the midline and beyond to the ceiling or the sky, depending on where you are. We can stop craning the neck once we can see somewhat above us and use the next 4 breath cycles to release from the front of the throat, the entire jaw, the tongue, and the space between the brows. Maybe your ears can even feel a little heavier, the scalp a little more relaxed. Make small movements with the mouth. See if you can release. And after that very last exhale of the 4th breath cycle, slowly bring the gaze back to center. And we can once more shake out any tightness, any activation of muscles. We'll reset our mountain once more. And as we do that, coming into our first couple of folds, standing in our mountain, feeling a little more rooted, a little longer, a little taller with each iteration of mountain. Reach downward with your fingertips. Inhale, extended arms upwards, reaching up with the hands at the top of the inhale. Engage the core and start to bring a hinge at the hips and bringing the tailbone back so you can fold. And take your time. You can either float on down, walk the hands down, just let yourself get into that first fold and staying here for about 5 breath cycles. You can keep a deep bend to the knees, especially if you've been working a great deal with the legs and they're feeling tight. You want to have the feet about hips distance apart. You can rest the torso via the forearms on the thighs, or just dangling the arms nice and relaxed in front of you. If you have the blocks nearby, you can even put your hands on the blocks. And the blocks just enable you to feel a little more supported if those other areas aren't speaking to you as much. But eventually, we're staying about 5 breath cycles in our first ragdoll forward fold. Just having something there might help you to relax a little more. Make sure you're feeling that good support from the hips down to the heels, and that the entirety of your soles of the feet are supporting the weight. Make sure you're not rolling in towards the inner arches or rolling out towards the outer arches. And see if you can release any holds in the upper body. Might be your head, might be the arms. Just want to feel release from the tailbone, down the spine, to the crown of the head. Enabling the upper body, the torso, to get closer towards the thighs, the crown of the head, towards the mat. And as we come out of our first lengthy forward fold, we're going to do this slowly on the inhale with an engaged core. Slowly start to curl up. You can press onto those blocks. You can give a gentle bend to the knees, start to bring down the tailbone. But we're rolling up the spine, one vertebra at a time, and you can walk the hands up if you need. And coming on back up to standing, engaging the glutes, tucking under the tailbone, feeling hopefully all of the soles of the feet pressing down into the floor. And then we'll fold one more time, reaching downward. Inhale, hands up. Exhaling, starting to hinge at the hips, bringing the tailbone back. Feeling that good grip at the soles of the feet, and floating on down to a second fold. Keep the bend to the knees, especially if you're feeling tight in the backs of the legs. And once more, give yourself about 3 breath cycles this time though, to feel into your fold. A little less lengthy than the first one. You can slightly shift the hips from side to side in a horizontal plane. You can notice if just gently moving the head in circular fashion in one direction and then another, like a plumb line. Maybe a gentle no movement with the head and yes movement. Anything to help you release through the hold of that skull, the head, about 10 pounds. See if you can use nature's traction with gravity to help release. And then we're going to inhale. Slowly roll up once more, or you can engage the core and come up with a straight back. Either way, inhaling all the way back up. If you can bring your hands out in front of you and reach up, pressing into the legs. Exhaling, hands down, heart center. And I forgot my box, but if you would like to bring the blocks into your hands, bringing them into the center, we'll go ahead and start our walking meditation, pressing into the palms or into the blocks, bringing standing weight to the left side of the body. Inhale the right foot up, and if you feel, you can lift it and step it forward, or you can just walk in place as well. Exhaling that foot down, feeling inhale to lift the left foot and bringing that down on the exhale. It's a slow walking meditation to the top of the mat. If you feel a little wobbly, engage the core. If it feels like it's been disconnected, compress into the palms. If you feel like challenging yourself a little more, you can always hover the foot up above, the knee a little higher. You can always just make small steps forward and arrive at the top of the mat at your own time. Sometimes we may need to touch down. So just see where you are today. And at the top of the mat, we'll go ahead and look down at our fingertips or the blocks. Inhale, pressing the arms up. Exhale, separate the palms, engage the core, stick the tailbone back, and fold. Once more, we're going into another fold. Keep those blocks with you if you need them, and just fully exhale into your fold. Inhale, half lift, wherever your hands have contact, maybe hands on the thighs, maybe on the blocks, maybe on fingertips on the floor, wherever you are. We're just lengthening the back at about a 90-degree angle. Could be more like 45, that's okay. Fully engaged core here. And then we can exhale, fold once more, setting the hands to either side of the feet on the floor or on mats. We're going to step back. If you can step one full leg back, that's great. You might have to take tiny steps all the way back to lengthen the body into a high plank for just a moment. Bringing the hands, shoulders over the hands, and then exhaling the knees, the shins down, opening up the ankles, and adjusting our first modified plank. Our first plank, which is modified, we're splaying the fingers, index and middle fingers up towards the top of the mat, thumbs in, and gently engaging all points of the palms from the heel to the fingertips, and feeling a nice opening at the sides of the shoulder blades closest to the spine. We don't want them to cave in. We want them to be protracted away from the spine and supporting the upper body in that way. The lower body, if you feel like you can bring the knees back a little more, do so, but we're finding hopefully the lower part of our body supported by the tops of the shins, the ankles. You can always tuck the toes under if you're finding cramping in the arches in any way. But hopefully you can get some opening at the ankles by just allowing them to be open and on top of the mat. Take your next inhale to tuck the toes, lift up the hips, and exhale, press into the hands to shift the hips back towards your down dog. And here, we can just take the next 5 breath cycles nice and slow through the nose to see how we're feeling in our down dog today. You can notice, hopefully, the feet are about hips distance apart, just as the hands are about shoulder width apart. And the distance between the feet and the hands giving you an upside down V shape. So you may need to tighten in the circle, the distance. You may need to lengthen the distance. But see if you can achieve an upside down V with the tailbone being the apex. And as you're lifting up the hips, the tailbone, you're bearing down through the arms and the legs. And hopefully if you have more of an upside down U, eventually you can get to an upside down V shape. You can always roll to the balls of the feet and slowly lower the heels. See if that helps you. Hopefully you'll feel a good stretch in the Achilles, the calves, and keeping a bend to the knees if you're just needing that little bit of modification to help in this transition. All the while, your core is engaged and feeling those directions of energy. One up at the tailbone and 2 down in the limbs. And then inhale, roll the eyes towards the hands, keep a deep bend to the knees, and let's walk our hands. Take your blocks with you, if you're using them, and walk the hands to the back of the mat. Stepping back if you're a little too far forward. Fully exhaled in our fold. We can inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold once more. And then we're going to inhale. Bring the hands together if you need, and roll up with the inhale. Or straight back, all the way up, pressing into the legs, engaging the glutes, and hands down heart center on the exhale. We'll come into another walking meditation. Inhaling, standing weight to the left side. When you've got that balance, lift the right foot. Doesn't have to be high, you could just hover it. Or you can lift the knee high if you want to challenge yourself and step it forward on the exhale. Engaged core all the way up. Inhaling the other side up. Exhaling that side down. Gentle tuck of the chin. Pressing into the hands if you feel a little wobbly. And at the top of the mat, meeting in mountain, looking at the fingertips or the block tops, press into the palms, watch them rise. Separate the hands on the exhale and hinge for fold once more, bringing the tailbone back. Slow float down or walk the hands down. You have options. Fully exhaled at the bottom. Inhale, half lift. Lengthen through the back, through the legs, and then exhale, fold. Bring the chest closer to the thighs. Bring the hands down to the floor or to blocks, and step a right foot back, a left foot back. Come into your plank with as many steps as you need. Inhale, shoulders over the wrists, and this time stay long in the legs. But notice once more that your hands are in good position and you're on the balls of the feet. Engage, stick the belly button to the spine and press into those hands. Feel that nice long hypotenuse from the heels to the crown of the head, while the shoulders down to the wrists and the heels down to the balls of the feet are supporting you. One more inhale, one more exhale, and then we can inhale the hips up and exhale the hips back to down dog once more. Make sure you make any adjustments between the feet and the hands. We're moving towards that upside down V. Hopefully our ears are somewhere up at the upper arms, and you're looking straight down with your eyes. You can give yourself some adjustments here. You can roll to the balls of the feet. You can give yourself a deeper bend of the knees and see if you can lengthen the legs a little more. And notice that you're not dumping all the weight into the heels of the hands. Make sure you have a good grip even at the knuckles of the palms, feeling that under the mat. And then with the next inhale, taking our blocks with us, exhale, inhale, eyes to the hands, and exhale with bends to the knees if you need, and walk the hands to the fold at the back of the mat. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, come on up. Either a roll up or a straight back, all the way back up, pressing into the legs, reaching up with the hands, exhaling hands down heart center. And here's our last walking meditation. Inhale, Left side. Lifting the right foot. Exhale it down. Find that balance before you inhale that left foot up. Step it forward. Exhale that down. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale, and 1 breath cycle per step. And when we get to the top of the mat, looking down at the fingertips or block tops, pressing into the palms to make them rise. At the top, we can separate our palms and engage the core, stick the tailbone back, and hinge at the hips to fold once more. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Bring the hands to either side of the feet. Step back into your high plank. Once more, long legs. Shoulders over the wrists. And breathe for 3 strong breath cycles. Slow. Inhale. Pause. Slow exhale. Core engaged. Keep those shoulder blades away from the spine, pressing into the hands, lengthening through the arms. And then we can inhale, shift the hips back to a down dog, pressing into the arms. Make any adjustments in case your feet are a little too narrow or too wide. Feel how your third dog is. Can you lengthen through the legs? Do you need that slight bend or deep bend to the knees? Are you able to shine the tailbone to the sky as you root down at the hands and the feet? Ears somewhere in between your upper arms. And you can take the blocks with the next inhale, roll the eyes to the hands, and then walk the hands to the back of the mat to your fold. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And then come on up once more, your choice. Roll up or straight back all the way up, pressing into the legs. Hands down, heart center. And finally down to the sides. Just letting the breath return and the blood rush back to the head. You can take a moment here for a little bit of a water break. And we'll be just giving ourselves a bit of a balance, just one, where we're going to stand and hover the foot on one side. And if you have the strap nearby, we'll be making our way down to the floor as well, where you can use the strap for a spinal twist, but you might also be able to use it here too. So we're going to stand in mountain. Let me grab my strap. I forgot to bring that out. But as we're standing in our mountain, feet are in that square foot mountain. We typically like to reset that at this stage just to make sure that we're feeling a little different in our mountain than we did at the beginning of class. You can roll from heel to toe. If, for some reason, if you feel an outward rolling at the arches, at the feet, make sure you've got a little more even distribution of the feet so you feel all 4 points of the soles of the feet on the floor. And just that gentle internal rotation of the thighs. And hopefully you'll feel that tailbone tucking under. If you have the strap nearby, you can always get that on the ready under your right ball of foot. And we're just going to bring some standing weight to our left leg. And once you find that balance there, you can use both hands to help you lift the right sole of the foot. You can start with the heel and then see if you can bring the entire foot to float above the mat. You don't want to jut out the standing leg's hip, but you might be able to help keep that foot floating above, or you can just use your foot. We're staying here for about 3 to 5 breath cycles. If you have to touch down, that's okay. But we don't want to jut the standing side's hip out. And we just want to hover for a moment or two. And then you can bring that right foot down. Go ahead and release from the left standing weight side. You can roll that ankle. If it feels good, bounce the knee. You can kick it forward if you have that stability on the right side. Kick to the side once more before you go over the midline. And you can even just gently swing it forward and back. Again, if you have that standing ability on the other side. And then we're going to move to the left side, lifting, and right standing leg. Let's go ahead and develop that and bring it into our square foot mountain first. Notice how the hips are feeling. Pelvic bowl is tilted under, so the tailbone is tucked under. Bring that standing weight to the right side. Engage the glute. That's so key to just stabilizing that leg and apparently the whole side of the body at that point. When you're able to lift the heel of the left foot, if you need to use the strap, go ahead and use that. Just slide it under there. And again, we're working on 3 to 5 breath cycles of just balancing on our right side. Engaging the core is so key. And then we can bring that foot down and start releasing through that standing side. And again, you may need to bounce through the knees, you may need to bend it gently, roll through the ankle, one direction then the other. If you have that stability on the other side, you can maybe kick out some activation of that standing side. Sometimes I just like to bring the toes back behind me as well, get that stretched out somewhat. And then we're going to make our way down to the floor, and we'll start out in a base bridge position. Now, if you're in the chair, just make sure that your sits bones are at the edge. And you can always use the chair to help yourself sit into a squat sort of situation. You can use the blocks. Keep the blocks at some nearby area on either side. And you'll have a landing spot for either your knee or your ankle if you're able to extend the leg all the way. But just having it somewhat one block on either side. You can even have the chair there if you can't make it all the way down to the other side. That's an option for you. And as we're sitting in our base bridge position in the chair or on our back on the mat, let's go ahead and use the strap. Or you can just lengthen through the leg, but sometimes the strap really helps to keep you supported so you can press out through the leg if you still have strength that you are developing on that side. And just bringing that strap somewhere at the inner arch, near to the ball of the foot if you can. And in our base bridge position, your feet are just about hips distance apart. And arms out to the side at some point, but you'll need, if you're using the strap, to have one hand on the strap, or perhaps even 2. So, do what you can. We want to make sure our spine and neck are in one alignment as well, and we're looking straight up above us. If you're seated in the chair and you've got the strap against your leg, you're just lengthening through the leg. So we're just going to lift up the foot, and just depending on where you are, once more, at this point you can make a more of an adjustment if it helps, but we're just trying to lengthen through that leg and just pressing through the heel gently with that strap. Not really pulling on the strap, but just holding on to the strap. The weight of the hands should help you if you're down on your back. If you're seated up in the chair, you'll be gently pulling on it, but not really, pulling hard. You just want to be able to lengthen through the leg and use the strength in your leg to lengthen. Engage the muscles to lengthen the leg. And breathe for a moment or two here. And then we're going to lengthen the other leg. And hopefully you have that block somewhere if you need a higher block, or if you find that you can't roll over to one side, you can always bend this knee. You can always bend it as we do a spinal twist over. But let's hold the strap if you have it with our right hand. Bring out the left hand to help you just start to bring over the weight. And you should just be rolling over to one side. You don't have to be completely over. Just go where you can. And hopefully by holding onto the strap, or maybe your pant leg, or if you're just free falling over, just giving yourself that strength. And then you may need to find that landing pad, the block, or just bring it on over to the floor, wherever you are. You're hopefully at some comfortable point of just bringing the length of your leg over to the side. It may be at an angle. You might have the right leg at a 90-degree angle to the body. And again, just staying where you can. Hold the pose with ease and comfort where you're not haggard in your breathing. And it's okay if your right shoulder lifts. You don't need to have it flat on the back, but if you have that mobility around the waist, you may find that the right shoulder can still be on the floor. Once you get to your sweet spot, breathe 5 to 10 deep breath cycles. With each passing exhale, hopefully your body will release a little more. If you found any activated parts of the body that isn't necessary to holding the shape, each passing exhale will help you find that release. As you approach your last few breath cycles, your last couple of breath cycles, you may even turn the gaze to the opposite side of where you're twisting towards. So with my right leg twisted, spinal twisted to the left side, I may want to cap this off with just slightly looking to the right, leading with my eyes. And if there's mobility in the neck, it will follow along its natural course towards the right. A good twisting, ringing action at the waist and at the neck. See if you can just breathe. See if you can hear the ocean at the back of the throat. And when you're ready to come out, Bring the gaze back in line with the chest. You can bring the right shoulder up if you need to hold on to the strap. And we're going to inhale, power through that leg to bring it up. Use the strap to help you. Bring the sacrum, the back, the body back, up. And bend the right knee. Bend that that lifted leg's knee. Let the foot land. And then bend the opposite knee. Come back to your base bridge position. Make sure your spine and your neck are aligned once more. Feet somewhere near the buttocks, but not touching. And then we'll move on over to the other side. Let's get the strap, if you're using it, onto the ball of the foot, of the left foot this time for me. And then we're going to inhale, extend through the left leg best that you can. Give yourself few breath cycles to lengthen through that leg. If you're really tight, you may still have a deep bend to that knee. Your spinal twist might just need to be with bent knees. That's okay. Once you've gotten a hold of the left leg and it's either extended or bent, once you find that spot, we're going to go ahead and lengthen the opposite leg, the right leg. Give yourself some time to release through that right hip, through the opposite hip. And once you're good there, you're going to hold on to the strap with one hand, and it could be the right one this time, and keep the other arm out at a T, and slowly roll to the other side, to the right side with your left leg. Find your landing pad. See where you can roll, if it's on just as right side of your sacrum or on the entire hip crest there. And again, your left shoulder can roll up or it can stay there on the mat. Don't force anything. It's a deeper twist to the torso if you have the shoulder remaining on the floor. So if you're new to this pose, if you're just getting this nice twisting release, it may be okay to just let it fall upwards. Follow you over to the other side until you're a little looser, a little more limber at the waist, at the sacrum, at the lower lumbar. Giving yourself once more about that 3 to 5 breath cycle to find the sweet spot of our spinal twist on this side. Find the 5 to 10 final breaths to really sink into your spinal twist on this side. Recall those deep, slow yogic breaths. And even though you're twisted at the torso, you may not feel like you can get much air in. Try as you will to deeply breathe so you can get a good massage to the internals. Remember your last couple of breath cycles. See if you can gently look to the left side with your eyes, with your face if it's available. Play with the position of your palm as well. If you feel really tight in the shoulders, sometimes palms up or palms down can relieve any super tightness along the upper bicep, deltoid, shoulder girdle area. As we approach the last of our breath cycles here, to come out, if your face is turned to the left, we're going to bring our face in alignment with our chest, bring the shoulder, hands to grab a hold of the strap if you need, or help your leg. We're going to inhale, bring the leg back up, roll the sacrum back onto the mat, and bend that left leg. Allow the left foot to land gently, releasing all the props you might be having in the hand, and bending both knees, coming back to the base bridge position. We're going to bring our hands out to the sides of our hip area, about a foot, palms down, and gently give yourself windshield wipes from one side. Nice and slow. Inhale, engage the core, press the sacrum down, bring the knees up, and let it windshield wipe gently to the other side until it stops. Inhale, bring the sacrum, engage the core to bring yourself back to the base bridge, and give yourself a few more windshield wipes to feel a little release from that last spinal twist on both sides, actually. You might be able to give yourself a little massage at the glutes at the very tops and just doing a gentle windshield wipe from side to side. Nothing too hard, just nice and slow. And then with a nice deep breath, let both legs slide downward. We're moving into our Shavasana, and at this time, you can give any last minute moves. You can stretch the arms above the head, point the toes, flex the feet. You can bring a rolled up padded towel underneath the lower back if that feels good to relieve pressure there. You can bend the knees and keep them knocked inward if you'd rather keep the knees bent. Then I'm going to sit up to mind the time. And as you allow your body to respond in final Shavasana, we'll awaken when you hear the 3 bells. Bringing the mind back to the body. Take note of sounds outside the room, within the room, and finally back to the breath. Wiggling the fingers, the toes, rocking parts of the body to help you reconnect to your physical vessel. We'll make our way to an upright seated position. I'm sitting in hero, but if you would like to sit with your feet cross-legged in front of you or in staff, you're welcome to do that. We will be using our breath of fire exercise to close out today's class. And just turning to the side, if sitting in hero is difficult, you can always bring a block or two, either sitting on them in between the heels or perhaps widening the feet ever so slightly, either on the narrow part or if it feels better to widen the knees and have it on a flatter part of the block to help you bring yourself to an upright seated position. What we're going to be doing is that continuation. This time we're going to be doing 20 breath cycles instead of our 10 that we did last week. And on the last breath, what we'll do is a slow exhale, and hopefully you'll be seeing that with hand gestures that I give you. And as you slowly press out all the air, I want you to feel that engagement right there at the pelvic floor, at that point of muscles where you cut off your urination stream. We're going to hold that at the very bottom of the last breath and then give ourselves a gentle tuck of the chin so we can feel that energy sort of trapped in between these 2 points. We'll hold the breath for about 3 to 4 breath cycles. If you have to breathe sooner than that, feel free to do that. That's okay. This is a work in progress. And as we only did 10 last week, we're jumping up kind of quickly to the 20, but eventually, maybe in the next few weeks, we can jump up to 30 even. So what we're going to do is make sure you're on your sits bones, wherever you are seated. We're going to have that nice deep inhale through the nose, purse our lips, and start shooting out the air with the help of the belly for 20 rounds. Shh, 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 fully exhaled, lift the floor, tuck the chin, and release. We're going to just do a second round of that in just a moment. And taking another deep breath, nice and tall, and shooting out. Fully exhaled. And release the breath. Let your breath return to its natural state. And bringing hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining us for Gentle Yoga at noon at the ACC Community Room. I hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste.